So my name is Christer Holloman. I'm the author of the Social Media MBA series published by Wiley. So it's a series of books that I started writing about 3 years ago when I identified an opportunity to help business professionals take their social media activities to the next level. I recognized that a lot of people already were doing social. They were blogging, they were tweeting, they had a Facebook page, but they didn't know how to take it and elevate that to the next level. How can you make this more commercial? How can you sell more things? How can you engage more efficiently? So I created this book called the Social Media MBA, the first book, which is a collection of stories talking about the next step, the future social. And it became an Amazon bestseller. At the peak, it was the 487th most bought book in the whole of the UK, and there's 6 million books on sale on Amazon. So fantastic achievement. And it really sort of recognized the fact that there is a demand, there was a demand for businesses to find out how to take the next step. And following on from that success, I've been able to write subsequent books following on from that theme. So a year ago, a book called the Social Media MBA in Practice was published, which is a collection of case studies, because that's also something that I recognize that everyone is asking me, Chris, this is all well and good what you're telling me, but can you give us a more tangible example so that we can almost copy and paste and replicate what someone else is doing, but in our business. So it's 25 case studies back to back, highlighting the best business use of social media. And tonight, obviously, we're here to talk about the new book, the third book, called the Social Media MBA Guide to ROI, which is focusing on how you measure the financial return on spending money with social media.
So, I mean, that's the interesting thing. I mean, it's a big thing for startups and corporates alike who I work with. How do you measure ROI on social media?
It's a very good question, and some people will tell you that you cannot measure social media ROI, but I firmly believe that you can, and you almost have to, because if you are an advocate of social media, if you are spending money or spending time even on social media, if you can't turn around and explain to your business why you're using your time to do this, you might find yourself out of a job, because in the end of the day, anyone that has a job has been hired to achieve something specifically which the business wants you to do. So that could be sell more things and make more products or service customers. And if you are diverting from some of the things the business wanted you to do and spending that on social media, they will expect you to be doing that through the channels that you're engaging with, such as social media. So yeah, of course you can measure ROI. So for example, if you're selling things, can you put things out through social channels that will generate a sale? Because that will be a good example of how social media can generate a direct return on your investment, your time. So let's say you're launching a new product and it can't be discovered anywhere else apart from on your Twitter feed. Like Dell. Dell were running an effective social sales account on Twitter where they would be promoting discounts and things. And they knew every pound or every dollar coming through the Twitter account would be money that they were not making elsewhere. So I think you need to identify what the company does to make money, or what the company is trying to achieve, maybe reduce costs or service customers better. And then if you're doing anything in social media which relates to that, prove how your activity is helping achieve that goal. So my background is product development and product management within digital. So I worked for big newspaper companies, and obviously the newspaper industry is changing dramatically. The last 10 years it's gone from only making paper products to trying to make all this money or more money online. And it's a tremendous challenge, and no one really has the answer. So I was hired initially by an American company to launch a job board, which was an online proposition developed by this newspaper. So we're trying to monetize this potential. It's called Career Builder. It became the largest online job board in the US. Following on from that, I worked with a British publisher called Daily Mail, helping them with property portals. So again, they used to make money on estate agents advertising properties in the newspaper. Today, they don't do that, so they need to offer something online, which is what I was working on helping them to do. And most recently, I was the head of digital product development for the Times and the Sunday Times, which are two very large British newspapers, helping them monetize customers or users or readers online. And having had different hats and different roles, I've always been asked to do the same thing, help us make money online. And that's obviously how I came in contact with social media. I was asked to write a social media strategy when I didn't even know what a social media strategy was. So I found myself having to do tons of research. And in doing so, I discovered that there's a gap in the market in terms of what's out there, what's available for business professionals, and what is really useful and needed. So I decided to address that gap by writing the book that I was missing. the first thing is you need to define what success looks like. So depending on what your business is, are you trying to acquire users? Are you trying to sell more things? Are you trying to service people? Whatever it is, whatever your business already is trying to achieve, you need to replicate that in the social media world. So let's say you decide to engage with Twitter. You create a Twitter account. You need to make sure that the reason you do that is because you're trying to address one of those areas that you as a business as a whole is trying to achieve. For example, sell more gadgets. So the question you should ask yourself, how can I sell more gadgets using my Twitter account? So that's the first thing. Define what success looks like. If I sell gadgets to Twitter, it's successful, right? The second thing would be to have realistic goals. Because what good is it if you think you're going to sell 10,000 gadgets and you only end up selling 100? So there's obviously a mismatch there. So you need to make sure that you have low expectations. Decide, first of all, how much you need to achieve to meet the cost you've had associated with engaging with social media. So I'll give you an example. There's a company called Glassdoor, which they say a website, a community, a social media platform where employees can review employers in public. And employers can choose to spend money with Glassdoor to advertise vacancies, to try to improve the perception of them as an employer, communicate the kind of employer brand, etc. If someone is spending money with Glassdoor, they should be able to measure the number of hires they can make on the back of that. So if they manage to attract a new candidate, that candidate has an alternative cost had it been sourced from somewhere else. If you had to spend money with a recruitment agency or spending money with a job board, had you now been spending that with Glassdoor, you want to make sure that you're spending less per hire than you were with any of the other sources. So define realistic goals, I think, is the second. And then the third point, and final point, is to track and analyze. So it's not good you having good defined success criteria, good realistic goals, if you're not tracking and analyzing what the data is telling you. So is it working, is it not working? Let's make changes and see how that impacts the bottom line. So I think that would be the third and final point. Well, so the true answer is the fact that very few people do write reviews on Amazon. So every review that is posted on Amazon gets a disproportionate weighting by Amazon in terms of indication of the relative popularity of the book. So it's almost like an SEO play. The more reviews you have on Amazon, the further up you will rank in the search results. So if you go onto Amazon in the UK at least, you type in social media, my books are among the first to appear there. And that's because they've attracted a significant number of reviews. So I obviously want the new books as well to have a fair share of reviews. And this goes for any SEO. You think about Google, you want to have more content about you talked online because that will make Google recognize you in more ways and therefore rank you further up.